Hey guys, this is Nique and Ress, and this is She Wolf Alchemy. And today we're talking about the grief when healing doesn't arrive the way we expected. I think we've touched on this before, but we decided it was time to follow back up on this topic again. I think one of the most painful conversations like happening right now, especially among my women, is that a lot of us, especially over the last couple of years, have been given a formula, right? We've been going to therapy, we've been actively healing our wounds, we've been learning all about our attachment style, we've been learning we're anxious or we're anxious avoidant, we've been learning to set boundaries, we've stopped chasing emotionally unavailable people. We're learning to communicate clearly what are our needs. Can this person meet our needs? If they cannot, what boundaries do I need to set? Do I need to take a step back? We're learning how to become emotionally healthy people. And somewhere along the way, for many of us, um, we quietly kind of like absorb the belief that, okay, and once I do this, I'm going to get what I want, right? Love is going to arrive, right? We're going to get that rainbow, sunshine's happy ending. And it can get frustrating, especially when it's like you've done all the work and none of that stuff is necessarily happening or it's not happening the way you thought. And here's the thing, no one even explicitly promises that, but it's almost like we're sold this story. That's what happens though, right? I think it goes back to a lot of belief around the way we frame healing. I think for a lot of us too, a lot of us was told like, you got to work on yourself if you want anyone to love you. So we're like, okay, I'm working on myself. And then you worked on yourself. And I'm like, I do love me. I'm a great communicator now. I hold boundaries now. I do not chase people now. When people show me signs they don't want me or they don't want to give me that, I don't push over their boundaries to get my needs met. I am doing the things. But like, what happens when, okay, I did all this work and it does not feel like life has handed us the reward that we wanted? Like, yeah, we communicate better now and yeah, we don't have a whole bunch of leeches in our life anymore, but like, where's Prince Charming? Or like, where's that dream career? What happens when you become healthier? You become more self aware, you become more secure, but you are still alone. So today, that's what we're going to talk about, the grief that comes after healing, because no one really specifically warned us about that part. Neek, what's your thoughts on the topic, just in general, before we dive fully into it?
I do think that this is something that I have thought about. I definitely feel like I've done a lot of work. I still have work to be done, but I have done a lot of work. And sometimes I'm like, you know, okay with where everything is, but other times I'm like, okay, what's next? Like, like what's supposed to come now? I'm good. I'm healed. I'm happy. What's supposed to come now? Like, I think we, like you said, set it up for this magical thing, and then when it doesn't happen, I think some of us is like lost on what's the next steps to take.
Yeah. I mean, you know me. I say it all the time. Like, I have this moment every like 3 months where I'm just like, I felt so much happier when I was reckless. Like, I
Mhm.
definitely have my moments. And I've said that out loud several times over the last couple of years because sometimes healing can feel so boring or like, I know for me, one of the things that kind of switched with me with dating is I feel like in the past, I was more cutthroat. I was more like cut things off. I was more like, um, I knew how to get the responses I wanted. And I feel like once I started healing, I started communicating. One of the things I said to you several times throughout the years is like, I feel more frustrated because I feel like like I can't even do some of the things I used to do anymore because I want to be more understanding. Like I not even want to be. I am just more understanding right now. I am just more communicative than I have been in the past. And I'm like in the past, I feel like I got faster results. I feel like, and I don't think I was prepared for that myself. Um, and that's not like the case for right now, but I know in previous situations over the last couple of years,
Mhm.
like, I'm like, I would have handled that in such a different toxic way, and that would have went great, actually. I probably would have got my way better versus like, dang, I was like really understanding. I was like, I used my communication, I set up boundaries, blah, blah, blah. And it felt like The reward was just, "Oh, now I have to pull that." And it's like, "And this is boring.
Mhm.
Alright, now what do I do with this stuff?" And so I definitely, definitely understand that feeling of like, "But wait, I thought I was gonna communicate," and then magically, like, Prince Charming was gonna be like, I can communicate too. You're being understanding, I'm gonna be understanding too." There is a thing, like, there's a book too that's called, like, Men Love Bitches or something like that.
Mhm. I never heard of it, but mhm.
Yeah, and I swear sometimes I have this moment where I was like, I had so much emotion when I was a bitch. Like, why? Like, I was getting the results I wanted when I was a bitch. Why am I now being like an understanding, like, communicative person, and it feels like, again, not the results, not the like, we thought like, okay, I'll do all this healing and so forth. And then again, it will just come back naturally. And here's the thing, it's not that it is worse because I got my peace.
For sure.
Like, I didn't have my peace where I was getting my way about some things, but it came with like a lot of hecticness. But
Yeah.
like, okay, but now I have my peace and that's cool. But like, I was prepared for peace to come with other things.
Mhm. I would say I think mine goes in waves because I was just mean. I wasn't like
Mhm.
I was a little aggressive too. I was mean and aggressive.
Okay, how much are we lying today? Because don't say you
But
were.
I wasn't like a toxic, like not toxic, but I wasn't burning stuff or doing stuff. I would just cut off real fast.
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
would cut it off and then I would come back like, okay, I'm ready to come back and you're gonna take me back. That's how my toxicness was. So I
You
will say I
were hold on,
agree.
you were a killer with words too. You were a killer with words. Like,
Yeah.
why did you say that to that man? Why would you make that man cry like that?
Yeah, I didn't hold no, it was not his fault. It was nothing. But like you said, I had more emotion at that point. So I don't know. That book could be right. Like I'm like, I'm so nice now and I'm so more caring, I'm so more understanding, and I'm with you on the part about like it goes up and down. Like, what am I really benefiting from this? I will say that I have more peace. I will say- I will agree to that. I have more
Whole
peace.
episode. You have to throw away the whole episode. Like, you know what? I don't know. I think we're supposed to be bitches. I don't think we're supposed to be nice to men. I think that's the conclusion we're coming to.
But I have, like I said, I have my ups and my downs. So then I was like, okay, I did this thing. Okay, that doesn't work. I'm too nice. So then it's like, okay, now I'm working on boundaries. And now since I got to the part of working on boundaries and not pushing stuff and like I'm working on it, I feel at peace. And I can leave without being resentful. I can leave without blocking you, then unblocking you, tell you to add me back as your friend. I can do all those things because
Mhm.
I don't have those same like that same anger and aggression. So it did come in waves. So I had to do one like heal from one thing, then I'm like, yeah, I did do that. I don't like
Mhm.
this version of me. It's y'all running over me and it ain't about to happen. So
Yeah,
then I had to add my boundaries to it. So it's just like me seeing what works for me and what doesn't, and then going from there. And now I'm at peace, but I think, yeah, now I'm at peace.
yeah,
At whatever happens, happens. And I never been at the peace at the part of my life was like whatever happens, happens. I always thought it had to be something bigger and better,
yeah,
but I'm kind of just going with the flow of it and okay with it, I
yeah.
think, for this moment.
I think it's more making peace with the idea of like, okay, what healing looks like versus what we thought it would look like.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. I know, like, because I don't think most consciously think like, oh, if I heal, I'll get a partner. But I do think underneath a lot of healing journeys, there is this unspoken bargain of like, okay, if I become healthier, life will finally reward me. And I think about how so many of our messages with healing reinforce this. Again, going back to that, you track what you are, you need to heal before love finds you, that
Mhm.
relationship will come when you're ready. There's like this implication that partnership is a reward for like emotional growth. But like, look around. I'm pretty sure all of us can look around and tell that that is not true. One
Mhm.
of the things I'll let y'all in on a little secret, I'm not gonna go too deep in it. I actually might cut this out, but like, I feel like being a therapist, I see how many people settle, like how many people are like walking into things they actually really don't want. I mean, people are just like, I just rather be with anybody. I have seen, I just seen so many dynamics of that. And I think that kind of gave me a lot of perspective on like, oh, this isn't about like you get so healed and then life rewards you. It really is a game of chance. It really is a game of chance. Like no matter how healed you are, I mean, all of us probably can look around and we know of somebody that we're just like, ain't did no type of work. The most toxic person we know and stay with a partner, man or woman,
Mhm.
a partner.
Mhm.
And they're not great partners. And the partners I get usually aren't that great either, or they might be. Who knows? It's a Mitch and Max. But I think if you even look at reality, it would kind of tell you, like, oh, there is no like reward system in regards of, okay, if you check this off your list, then the universe will give you this.
I agree. And then even going back to you need to heal before your love finds you. I mean, you need to heal in a way, but you don't have to be 100% healed. I don't think so. Like, are we ever 100% healed? You know what I mean? And I
Yeah.
think some people might blame it on like, I have to go through my healing process and
Yeah.
then still,
Yeah.
still talk to you or still try to date, but that's their excuse. I want to go through the healing process. I get stuck on that saying because I feel like you're never 100% healed. So, like you said, it's a luck of the draw. You guys could both not be healed. You guys can heal together, like
Yeah.
separately, but together. Those are things that can actually happen. And if you wait until you get healed to try to reach out there and find love, it might miss you too. Like it's the luck of the draw. It's no
Yeah.
real formula to it. So, like you said, waiting until I'm perfectly healed and waiting and thinking it's going to be a war, it just might not. It might not come that way.
Yeah. And, like, don't get me wrong, I understand because there are certain things I do think you need to heal from. Like, if you just got
Yeah.
a relationship and you know you're still in love with them and you know it broke your heart and you know you're still thinking about them late at night, like, hey, you probably should not, like, jump into the next relationship. You
Mhm.
should not marry that person. Why did you immediately jump into another relationship and marry that person? You know you still in love with your ex. Like, that's how we get those complicated situations. But I agree with you.
Mhm.
Like, you don't have to be like, I have to wait till I'm 100% healed. Um, I've seen it happen in real time. People who, like, found healing in their next relationship. I have found people who, nope, they did a lot of the work outside and then they met a person, and because they were healed and a person was healed, it worked out. I have also saw 2 people who are like, "Y'all need to be by yourself. Please spare other people," and somehow find
Mhm.
each other, and, like, it works itself out. So, it's really the luck of the draw, but I think so many times, like, we can get really down on ourselves because 'cause we're like, "Why am I doing all this work if nothing is happening?" And I think it makes it worse if it feels like everybody else around you is getting the thing.
Mhm.
I hear this all the time where it's like, especially if you only look at you and your group of people, because sometimes, like, especially me, I'm down here in the South, like, I hear it and I see it all the time where they're like, "All my friends are married, all my friends are coupled up, everybody's in a serious relationship. Why not me? Why not me? Why not me?" And it's like when you like zoom out of that picture, a lot of people, especially women right now, are being like, "I'm not selling for shit I don't want to settle for. So if that means I'm gonna be sick, I guess I'm gonna be single." That means I gotta be sold I guess I'm gonna be sold If that means I love him so much, but he keep playing with me and I can tell I love him more and this is just not what I want for myself, so I guess I gotta back out. But I think sometimes we're so zoomed in on, well, like, I got 3 girlfriends and I'm the only one out of us 3 that's not married. I'm the only one out of us 3 that's not in a relationship. It can make you feel like it's something I must not be doing.
Yeah, yeah, and then it just might not be your time. And then
Mhm.
having that way of thinking will mess you up. I remember that being me as a young girl, like,
Mhm.
"Okay, everybo's together," so I just grabbed the person that was, like, there, and it
Yeah.
was just like, "This why did you do that?" So in the end,
Mhm.
it's just not worth it.
I agree.
Mhm.
And just I think getting to the idea that life does not operate on a reward system, you kinda
Mhm.
have to, like, really get that in your head that it is random, and I know for some people, the idea I had this conversation actually earlier last week, the idea that, like, love is random, they're like, "That makes me feel worse because there's nothing I can do to make it come
Yeah.
faster." And I was like, "But for me, that makes me feel better because then when I'm not like, it's not about, like, I'm failing, because that's how I look at it. If it is based on what I'm doing, then if it's not happening, that means I'm failing, versus if it's
Mhm.
random, it's like, just live your life then. It's gonna come, it's not gonna come, it's gonna work itself out. It's gonna that person from your past, maybe they're healing. Maybe they're gonna come back and find you. Maybe it's a new person. But like when it's random, it's not so much pressure and you don't have to beat
Yeah.
yourself up about it.
Yeah. I
Beat
I
myself up if the bus doesn't come at 8:10, even though it's supposed to come at 8:10. I was here at 8:10.
Mhm. Mhm.
Sit here until the bus comes. I can get frustrated about it. I can get angry about it. I can be like, why weren't you here at 8:10? But I did nothing and there's nothing I can do to make the bus come at 8:10. And that's kind of how I look at it. Like, if there's nothing I can do about it, I can just go about my life and I can just, do the things I need to do until the bus comes.
That's true. And that's a great way to look at it. It's not an easy way to look at it because, like I said, I think everybody does kind of blame themselves, but it's really random. It is really. You can make yourself ready or you can be ready, I guess, but I feel like it's not. I don't feel like it's on that person individually at all. So yeah, I think that what many women are experiencing is it isn't just like loneliness; it's also like anger and
Mhm.
sometimes shame about being angry. Like, yeah, shame about being angry because they're looking around thinking, I did everything right. I got the degree, I built a career, I'm financially stable, I'm healed from all my trauma. I learned how to communicate better. I stopped settling for the ones I didn't want. And I became secure, but I'm still here
Yeah.
where I started.
Stopping real quick. And I
Mhm,
think that's a big one for millennials because I think our parents were
mhm,
so big on drilling in, this is the order. Do this order.
mhm,
And I think, like, I love that for Generation Alpha, they're not gonna get that. I love that Gen Z, they didn't get that. But our generation, and I think even Gen X got this a lot. Like, our parents were big on telling us that there was this order that was like, I know for me, my parents were huge on go to school, don't give me no babies until you got some degrees. They were real
mhm,
big on, settle down. They were real big on like boom, 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 boom. And I think when you were a quote unquote good girl and you did it, you're like, okay, I did the thing. Y'all told me to do the thing. I did the things. And then like it
mhm,
didn't work out for you, especially if you're used to seeing it. Like if you come from a family where everybody's married, if you come from a
mhm,
family where everybody is like everybody was married and settled down by the time they was 25, that makes you feel a certain type of way.
mhm, mhm,
And, like, and me and you can have this conversation, but you know me, like, I'm more non-traditional, but, like, yeah, all the women in my aunties and all them are married. Like, all them
yeah,
married, all them were married, had their babies, like, all of them, like, 27 max, like, did that thing, and it was kinda, like, expected, like, "Okay, this is y'all grew up in this. This is not something new for y'all. Y'all saw nothing but families growing up. Y'all
mhm,
had y'all fathers in the households. Y'all had if y'all didn't have a father, when I kicked that one out, I got you a step one." Like,
yeah,
my family was real big on,
yeah.
like, we stayed with a husband.
It's with the mans.
Stay with
Yeah,
husbands.
yeah. I can agree because I mean, my family is really traditional as well, and it's just like everybody is married or everybody settled down early. And even though I feel like I'm not. I am traditional, but I don't really go on the same path as them. I do. I feel like some days I still wake up like, right, well, I ain't married yet. Even now, even though I know what it is, I still think like, why this ain't happening yet? And I think it was just programmed to us. So I'm glad that the other generations don't have to have that pressure. Like
Yeah,
if they're marrying, it's because they want to marry. If
yeah,
it's because they chose to do it. It isn't because it's like I'm trying to keep up. Not with the Joneses, but your family's tradition, quote unquote traditions.
yeah,
Yeah, and it's how was it embedded in us. Because I'm okay, but then I think some days I do wake up like, bruh, it hasn't happened yet.
yeah,
And just trying to fight that and just knowing like my time is gonna come when my time will come if my time comes.
yeah.
So I definitely agree with that too.
I think mine isn't so much the married thing. I'm still not 100% sure marriage is for me, and I'm still trying to
Mhm.
figure that out. Like, if I get married, I definitely, um like, if y'all see me married, I love the fuck out that man. Like, there is no if, in, or maybe about it, and the reason I bring that up is because I feel like in my 20s, I felt like it was something I had to do, not necessarily
Mhm.
I wanted to do.
Mhm.
I
Yeah.
had a couple of situations where and you have had a couple of situations where we've talked like, "Okay, do you want this? Okay, you're saying yes, but, like, okay, are you" mm, mm. Um, and I think even getting to that part too of recognizing, like, how much of these things that I'm thinking I'm supposed to get is what my actual want and desire versus, um, what I actually want.
Mhm.
I think for me, a big thing was, like, feeling like I feeling like I'm Anna's daughter, so I gotta do there's certain things that are expected of me. That was a huge thing for me. That was a huge thing for me because my a lot of people in my family super, super, super look up to my mom, and so I felt like there was a certain expectation of me
Mhm.
and feeling like, well, I have to like I don't plan on ever putting this type of pressure on my daughter, but, like, I felt like I think for most people, they're like, "I have to graduate high school, or I have to get my bachelor's." Like, for me, it was at the minimum, I have to get a master's. Like, that was always a thing for me because it was like, "Oh, you're Anna's daughter." And people expect, like, I'm supposed to be highly educated. I'm supposed to be super well read. I'm so even now, like, I do love to read, but I do think part of that is because, like, there's a certain expectation of, like, your mom is really, really well read. Like, I grew up in every single house we have ever had having a library. Every single
Mhm.
house we have, even when my parents were, like, struggling, even when you see our house on DeWitt in Dayton, little tiny house on DeWitt, we had a library in our house. Like, they literally made one of the rooms a library, and so, I think even switching towards, like, how much of I'm doing all this work because I'm thinking I'm getting certain rewards, how much of that is, like, rewards that I actually really want?
Mhm. Mhm.
And settling in that, like, "Okay, this is what I actually want." Um, and I think with me, a lot of my anger was more of that, like, "Damn, you ruined an image I thought I was supposed to have." That was my anger. It wasn't even a lot
Yeah.
of don't get me
Mhm.
wrong, there actually is some. There is a Morehouse man who I have a lot of anger towards. He did ruin some stuff. But a lot most of my anger was more so, I think, out of like, I did all this stuff because this was I was supposed to present this image. And I think it
Mhm.
took a lot of growth. I think a lot of my growth was like recognizing, fuck the image. What do you want life to look like? What feels good for you?
Yeah. And I think once you got, like, not angry, but you when you realized that you were doing that, you were like, "Nah, bruh." Like, you kinda, like,
Yeah.
not rebelled, but you was like, "Nah, bruh." Like,
Yeah.
what it
Yeah.
is.
Yeah.
And I
For
do not
sure.
care.
Yeah. For sure. For sure.
Yeah.
There's definitely kind of a moment in my life where I think like and I've said this before, and I think you know who I'm talking about, but I used to have one person in my life who, like, anytime I talked about, like, my past, they would just be like, "Why do you say that? Why do you?" And I'm like, "You don't understand. There's, like, a very particular moment in my life where I look very different
Mhm.
from who I was before." I just had a moment of like, "You know what? I don't wanna do none of this shit."
Mhm. And it was a 360.
I mean, and, like, going back into what we were talking about with, like, the anger part, I do think it's because, like, it also goes back to, like, just this great feeling of, like, this is so unfair. And even both sides of it, not just with love, with maybe, like, I did all the things, and so I should be, like, happy now. I should wake up and just have the dopamine now. I should be fulfilled in my career now. I should have the friendships I want now. And it's because it feels like no one wants to say it out loud, but there's almost like there's a belief like, well, unhealthy people shouldn't get the things. Why do unhealthy people get the things? Why does the player have multiple women throwing themselves at them? Why
Mhm.
does the mean girl, the mean fake girl, have all these friendships? Why does the lazy person have keep getting these amazing job opportunities fall at their lap? Why does the person that will cuss you out at a drop of a hat and doesn't really want to be there get the love? And I think this is just, it challenged our belief that effort guarantees outcome. And I think that's the big thing. Millennials were told that effort guarantees outcome. And I think all of our adulthood has just been proven to us that that's not true. And it
Mhm.
hurts because we really bought into the belief.
Yeah. And it's hard for us to just believe like, sometimes that this doesn't work, or sometimes I mean, it just doesn't really make sense.
Yeah.
And sometimes timing just doesn't make sense. Sometimes two equally wonderful people never meet. And even though that hurts, sometimes that is just life.
Yeah. And I want to say, like, as a therapist, I do think this is where we have to be honest about, like, what therapy can do and what therapy cannot do. I'm huge on telling clients and the people just in general, like, therapy is there to help you recognize patterns. Therapy is there to help you choose healthier patterns, healthier partners. It can help you recover from heartbreak faster, not guaranteed. Let me be very clear. Because I also get that a lot of times in therapy where they're like, why am I still not over it? And it was like, you love this person. You planned a whole future with this person. We are grieving this future. We're grieving this person no longer being in our lives. For some of us that takes longer. That's okay. But like therapy, it can also help you connect with yourself. But therapy cannot just magically make a community appear. Therapy cannot manufacture third places. Therapy cannot fix the collapse of social connection. Therapy cannot make emotionally unavailable people suddenly become available for you. Therapy
Mhm.
cannot solve structural loneliness. And I think sometimes we accidentally put too much responsibility on the individual healing and not like on the attention of like, hey, some of these social conditions are going to make this thing harder for you. And it is going to be harder to build the relationships inside. And you can do the work, and sometimes just the outcome is not here. You can do the work, and sometimes it's a matter of like I have definitely worked with people where we did a lot of work and they did have so much change and it was so beautiful, but it took them leaving. It took them leaving the city. And that's when they found a person. Took them finally being like, okay, I'm gonna take this risk. I don't like this job. I don't like this field. I hate it here. Oh, and that's when they got their happiness and that's when they got their community. Therapy is great and it helps you recognize the patterns. It helps you recognize things stopping you, but it does not make things just suddenly appear in your life. And here's the thing, a lot of times we feel like people are struggling just because we're wounded. And we are, sometimes we are, but that's not the only struggle. People are also struggling because they're isolated. And therapy can encourage you to go out and meet people. Therapy can encourage you, give you tips on how to start friendships or start dating, how to pick up on healthier habits and healthier people, things, boundaries, all of those things. But it cannot make the people and the things just magically come for you and make them automatically align with you.
Yeah. And then that goes to just like the feeling of feeling unselected. Like there's a whole different layer of painfulness where we just feel like not wanted or not desirable or unselected. And there's a difference because a lot of us know that we're successful, we're interesting, we're emotionally intelligent, and we're accomplished, and we like crossed off all our goals. But yet another year, we're sitting here wondering why we have not been picked and watching all our friends get chosen and everybody around us get chosen. And eventually it stops being what's wrong with them and more what's wrong with me.
And that's a wound. Like, let's just be honest, that is wound. That's not just loneliness. That's fear that somehow your inability to find partnership means something is wrong with your worth. Your inability to find your joy in your work means that you're not working hard enough. Your isolation, we make that mean something about who we are as a person instead of we again are lacking third spaces and it is hard to find connections. And that's where things become dangerous because you're now tying your value to an outcome you don't completely control. And that's the
Mhm.
thing we're trying to address. You have to untie your healing to your reward system. Yes, there will be some rewards. You will recognize patterns faster. You'll be able to make better choices and better decisions. Not all the time. Please stop. Look, players fuck up. You still gonna have your moments. You're still gonna have your moments. I just had a birthday. I had a moment. Didn't remember having this moment. You'll have your moments. But the reward is more so in what you're able to recognize and what you're able to choose, but it does not make more choices appear.
Mhm.
And that's the reality of it. And it
Yeah.
sucks, but it's the reality of it. And the quicker and easier you are on yourself with understanding that you don't have control over that. And so you don't need to tie your value to that. I think the easier it will be for you in the long run. I think one of the hardest lessons adulthood teaches us is that growth does not always produce the rewards that we expected. Sometimes healing gives us peace. Sometimes healing gives us freedom. Sometimes healing does give us better relationships. But sometimes healing does give us the painful clarity that we are trying to earn something that was never guaranteed. That realization hurts. And maybe you need to reevaluate and move the goal from being coming worthy of love. Because here's the thing, you're already worthy of love. And healing was never supposed to make life choose you. Healing was just supposed to help you survive the uncertainty of not knowing when life will. And maybe look at that as a different type of freedom entirely. So, Guys, that is all we have for today's episode. We hope you enjoyed. Again, we are on a summer break. Everybody traveling. Everybody is traveling. Everybody is traveling. All of us are gone all summer. So, with that being said, like I said last episode, you will get episodes once every 2 weeks. But we hope during that 2 week time, come back and listen, re listen, share with a friend, go back and listen to some of your favorite old episodes. And in 2 weeks, we will have a new one for you. Other than that, we ask that you like, share, leave a review with some words wherever you are listening. And again, we'll have a new episode for you in about 14 days. Other than that, bye.
Bye.